Right now, without looking at anything, without thinking about it. Point at north. Go on. Point. You can't. Be honest. You have no idea. Now here's the uncomfortable part. Every one of your ancestors could have done that instantly. In a forest, in the dark, after running 6 hours in the wrong direction, chasing an animal. They crossed deserts. They crossed open ocean. They took an entire planet, with no map, no compass, no signs, using the exact same brain sitting inside your skull right now. So what happened to you? Something was taken from you. And the strangest part is that you handed it over willingly. It's in your pocket, right now, as you watch this. But stay with me. You just failed that first test. And in a couple of minutes, I'll give you a second one you will pass. Effortlessly. Without moving from your chair. It proves the ability never actually left you. And at the very end, I'll tell you why the popular version of this story is partly a lie, including the version I'm about to tell you. Let's start with what they could actually do. Aboriginal Australians crossed thousands of kilometers of desert, terrain that looks to an outsider like nothing repeating forever. Polynesian navigators sailed open ocean for weeks, out of sight of land, and hit islands that are specks in a sea the size of a continent. Miss by 10 miles, and you die out there. And hunter-gatherers would track a wounded animal for hours, twisting and doubling back across ground you'd call featureless, and then walk home. Not the way they came. Straight home. A clean line, right back to camp. That detail gives the whole thing away. Walking a straight line home, after hours of wandering in curves, means that the entire time you were zigzagging through the bush, some part of your brain was running a calculation, tracking every turn, every step, constantly updating one answer. Where is home? From exactly where I'm standing now. Scientists call it path integration. Sailors call it dead reckoning. Ants do it. Birds do it. And, I can prove it, you did it too. This week, here's the test I promised you. You don't have to go anywhere. Think about the last unfamiliar building you walked into. A mall. A hotel. You came in the front door, went down a corridor, took a couple of turns, maybe rode an elevator. Now, somewhere in the middle of all that, if someone had grabbed you and said, "Point at the front door," you would have gotten close. Most people do. Shockingly close. You didn't calculate that. You weren't even paying attention. Something underneath did it for you, using machinery you have never once consciously touched. You failed point at north because that's a skill you never trained. You passed this one because this system never stopped running. So the equipment is still installed, which makes the real question so much worse. If the machinery is still there, why are we so bad at this? To answer that, we go inside the room where it lives. Buried in each half of your brain is a curved structure called the hippocampus. In the 1970s, a researcher named John O'Keefe pushed an electrode into one and found a single neuron that fired only when the animal stood in one specific spot. Move a few feet, that cell goes silent, and a different one lights up. He'd found a cell for here. They're called place cells. Then it got stranger. Decades later, another team found grid cells, neurons that fire in a repeating hexagonal pattern across space, like invisible graph paper laid over the world. Sit with that, because it's easy to hear it and not actually feel it. Your brain is not storing a photograph of where you've been. It is building a map, an actual map, drawn in living cells. It won the Nobel Prize. And it isn't happening to a rat in a lab. It's happening in your head right now, as you sit there, quietly mapping the room you're in, the chair you're on, the door behind you. And here's the part that should make you sit up. This map is not fixed hardware. It grows. To become a licensed London taxi driver, you have to pass a test called the Knowledge, 25,000 streets. A medieval tangle with no grid, no logic, no mercy. Every shortcut, every one-way, every dead end. 3 to 4 years. Most who attempt it fail. And when scientists scanned the ones who passed, they found something that shouldn't happen to an adult brain. The rear of their hippocampus, the map room, was measurably larger than everybody else's. They weren't born that way. They grew it. One street at a time. The longer they'd driven, the bigger it was. And here's the detail that closes the case. Bus drivers. Same city. Same traffic. Same years behind a wheel. But they follow one fixed route and showed no such growth. Different demand on the brain. The map grew to fit the world it was asked to hold. So if using it makes it grow, what happens when you stop? That is exactly where your phone walks into this story. When you follow turn-by-turn directions, you are not navigating. You are obeying. You're not building anything. You're executing one instruction at a time, like a machine following a script. Researchers have found these are two genuinely different modes in the brain. Active navigation lights the hippocampus up. Following a device largely doesn't, which is why you can drive the same route 200 times and still not draw it from memory. You were never really there. Your phone was. Studies find that people who lean hardest on satellite navigation perform worse on spatial memory tasks and hold weaker mental maps of streets they drive every day. One long-term study linked heavier lifetime GPS use to a steeper decline in spatial memory over the years. Now hold that next to what they were doing, with the exact same brain you have. Aboriginal songlines encode entire routes as songs. The order of the verses is the order of the land. The map is stored in melody, sung across generations, walkable in the dark. They didn't have better brains than you. Theirs was being used the way it was built to be used, as a map maker. Yours is being used as an instruction follower. Now, the part I promised you at the start. Because if I stopped the video here, you'd walk away with a very clean, very shareable story. Phones are destroying your brain. The ancients were magic, and that story is too clean. It's the kind of story that feels true because it's satisfying, which is exactly when you should get suspicious. So here are 3 things you deserve to know, including about the version I just told you. 1. The headline, GPS is shrinking your brain, is much stronger than the evidence. Most of these studies are correlational. People with weaker spatial skills may simply reach for GPS more often. The cause could run backwards. Nobody has proven your phone is eating your hippocampus. 2. Ancient humans got lost all the time. We only hear about the ones who made it home. The ones who didn't left no story and no descendants to tell it. That's survivorship bias. It makes the past look far more magical than it was. 3. I'm not telling you to throw your phone in a lake and go live in a cave. GPS is miraculous. It saves lives. Those brilliant navigators also died at 40 from infections we cure with a pill. Romanticizing the past is its own kind of stupidity. But here's what survives all 3. The machinery didn't disappear. The place cells, the grid cells, the map maker. They're still in there, idle, waiting for a job. The ability isn't gone, it's dormant. And waking it up is embarrassingly easy. Walk somewhere new without the blue arrow. Get slightly, safely lost, on purpose. Look at the map once before you leave. build its shape in your head, then put the phone away. Because your ancestors crossed a planet using the exact organ sitting inside your skull right now. It hasn't forgotten how. You just stopped asking it. So tell me one thing, and be honest. Could you draw the route to your own home, from memory, right now? Drop it in the comments. I read everyone. And if this made your brain itch in the best way, that's exactly what this channel is for. Subscribe and stick around. Because there's nothing stranger and nothing more worth understanding than the mind you live inside every single day.